today's video, we are going to be talking about the AppSheet Intelligent No-Code Platform. And so this video is going to be divided into two parts. In the first part, I'm going to give you a general overview of AppSheet. I'm going to talk about the things that make it special, the things that you should really be paying attention to, and some of the unique features of this platform as opposed to some of the other tools like Bubble or Appgyver. And I'm going to talk about the features, functionality, and all of that. In the second part of the video, we're going to be building a sample app so that you can put all of those thoughts in and ideas into practice and see how everything fits together. And so here we are on the front page of AppSheet, and it bills itself as the intelligent no-code platform. Reclaim your time and talent with no-code apps and automation. And it promises no-code, agile, and powerful. And so this is an app that you can create all kinds of apps. You can create mobile apps, you can create web apps, lots of interesting things. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to log in into my free account. And just like any other no-code tools, there's the free tier and the paid tier. And for a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about in this video, you do not really need the paid tier just yet. Some of the advanced functionality do require it, but right now you do not need it. So you can go ahead and create your free account and you can start using it. All right, so here we are logged into my dashboard here. I don't have any apps yet, so we're going to start looking into this together so that I can show you exactly what you need to do. So we're going to go ahead and create a new app, and right away it gives you a wizard. And this is where this AppSheet tool differs from the previous tools that I reviewed on this channel, including some very, very popular ones. They ask you if you want to start with your own data. So this tool is very, very data agnostic, as you will see a little bit later in the video. And that is because they want you to start with your own data, and they want you to kind of build the app around your data. When you build an app using Bubble or Appgyver, there's really no talk about data, because at this point you're just designing the app. But this tool, it wants you to kind of start with your own data, which I feel offers some very, very important advantages. So what we're going to do, we're going to click on start with an idea, and then later we're going to use this option here to start with your own data. So we're going to click here, and it's asking us what kind of data does your app have. I'm just going to pick something random. I'm just going to pick products. And so it says this app has a collection of products. You can do all that. And so let's say I don't want to, I can do it with products if I want, right? I can do all this. But let's say I don't want to work with any data right now, and that is exactly what I want to show you. I just want to show you the app right now. We're going to get into data in a second, so I'm going to delete that. And so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on Save and Refine, and we're going to name the app. I'm just going to call it Sample App, just to name it something. We're going to hit Go, and it's going to build this skeletal structure. Remember, we're not using any data. We're not using anything related to data in this app. We're going to do that just a little bit later in the video. Because I want to show you just the functionality, how everything fits together. And then I'm going to show you a working example of a real app. All right, so it built our app, and it's telling us, welcome to AppSheet. This app has been created, but the connected data may not be ideal. That's fine. It's telling us there's some templates we can use. That's fine. We can just remove that, and we can just start building the app. All right, so here we are in our dashboard for our simple app here. So let me walk you some of the functionality, some of the things that you're seeing, so that it all starts to make sense. So if you go to Home here, you have your kind of this general things, right? You have your documentation, you have various videos, you have articles, and then you have these suggested next steps. This is actually pretty useful, as you're going to see a little bit later in the video. So you can view your connected data settings, you can go into tables, you can work with table columns, and you can add views. You can also click on Show More. You can add actions, share your app, deploy your app. So there's a lot of useful functionality, really, right? It really knows the kind of things that you want to include in your app. So these things are very, very useful. Next, we have the Info tab, and here you have the specs. This is where you're going to see your data models, different data structures, tables, stuff like that. You have your dashboard, you have your properties, and you have various errors here, okay? Next we have is the Data tab, and this is where you are defining your data that the app understands, as well as your backend data, where you're actually pulling the data, whether it's Google Sheets or somewhere else. It has a lot of support for different data sources, so you can create a new table and start working with that data. Following that, we have the UX, which is the user experience or the UI, and this is where you create your views. Views organize and display your data to your users. So you have your branding, this is your colors, various color settings, you have formatting rules. Formatting rules let you change the way your data looks in your app. You have various options. You have your starting view. We don't have any views, so it's not displaying anything. You have various settings, and you can also localize the app, right? You can localize it, how it's gonna show different text stuff. You could customize system text in different settings, right? This is actually very, very cool. Next we have is the behavior, and behavior is really nothing more than actions that let you modify data and navigate through your app. So if you think about an app as kind of this code and data, code that manipulates data, data is here and the code is here. So somebody clicks on an element, you have your UI. Somebody clicks on something, somebody, hovers over something, there's some kind of an action and reaction, right? So this is kind of what it is. Actions let you modify data and navigate through your app. You can create a new action. Next is the automation. So automation is kind of like actions that work not from within the app, they happen from the outside of an app, right? So for instance, a bot defines the automation you want AppSheet to run when something happens. So it's not like when something clicks. This could be an external event, this could be an API is received, this could be a timer, this could be some kind of a repeating event, right? Do some set of activities. Each activity is a task, and a set of tasks is called a process. Bots run in the cloud and do work for you even when you're not directly using the app. So this is the big difference between automation and behavior. Behavior happens from input or a reaction as a result of the user working with the app. And automation is really something that's outside of your app. Both are very useful and both are used in different use cases. We also have security. And so you can require sign-in, you can specify a provider here, Google, etc. This is actually very, very useful because a lot of, most people in the world have a Google account. And so as a result, they can easily sign up without, specifying, creating an account. They can just use it. They can just log in using their existing Google account, which is actually very cool. Or this could be something else. We have security filters. Control what data is accessed and with what and with whose security permissions. Domain authentication and options. Okay, so domain authentication, you don't have to worry about it. This is corporate domains, and options is also an advanced setting. You don't really have to worry about it too much. And then we have intelligence, which is predictive models allow you to use machine learning to make predictions based on your data, which is actually very, very cool. But this is a very much an advanced topic. And so that is it. We have users, and you have your managers. You can do a deployment check. You can deploy it. You can stage it. You can run the app. Very, very interesting things. And so that is kind of what we have right now. And so right now that you kind of understand everything about this app, why don't we go out and we create a brand new app with existing data that I already prepared for this video. And so I went ahead and I created a very, very simple Google Sheet that is basically a list of cars. So we have the name of car brands, we have an image of the car, and we have a small description here, a very, very short description that I pulled from Wikipedia. And we're going to be using this data as a basis for our new app that's going to be built using this data. And then I'm going to show you some of the advanced functionality. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to AppSheet here. We're going to go back to our dashboard. We're going to go click on this. That's going to take us to our kind of main dashboard where we can see all the apps that we built and stuff like that. And we're going to create a brand new app. And so what we're going to do is we're going to hit make a new app. We're going to say start with your own data. And I'm going to call this cars app. Okay, you can choose a category. It's really up to you. And you can say choose your data. And once you do that, you have your Google Sheets pop up. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Cars app here. I'm going to pick select. And it's going to go ahead and it's going to automatically, and this is where the magic of AppSheet is. It's going to automatically try to guess how we want to use this data and in what ways. And in many ways, it's doing a really, really good job. And so here's our brand new app, Cars app. And as you can see, now we have kind of this little UI preview. And if we go into data, we are going to have a new table, right? It calls this table. So we can click on it and it's going to expand it. And now we have the table name. And this is actually, it pulled it from the sheet. This is the sheet 1. If we go back to our Google Sheet, I called it just sheet 1, which is the default name. And it knows that, essentially it guessed that that whole sheet is going to be a table. So we can say view columns. You can view different columns. You can set, some things as a key. You can have labels, description. You can add a virtual column, which is a column that's not tied to your initial data, to the Google Sheet, and you can regenerate structure, and then you can go back to view table. You can say view source. You can do that, and you can actually see the original data. You can go back here, and then you can say view data, and that's actually going to show you the data inside of AppSheet, okay? And it's going to show you the column names. This is the key, which means you can tie it to different tables. I'm going to talk all about that a little bit later in the video. But what's important is that now we have a table, okay? This is very important. You can also go to columns. You can see that this thing has 4 columns, has a built-in row number, which was not in our initial Google Sheet. This is actually a feature of AppSheet. You can create new slices, user settings, etc., and options. Now, if you go into UX, it also created something called a primary view, which is the view right here. This is the view that it sees. It also has various other views, and these are called system views. So if you click on this, it created actually a detail view and a form and an assistant as well. So it created a lot of interesting views. So if you hide this, you only see the view that's taken from our sheet. But if you expand it, you see the detail view. And what is a detail view? If you click one of these things, it's going to go into this detail view. And all of this is created automatically. And if you're building an app, a similar app in one of the other platforms like Appgyver or Adalo, Adalo is something that I think about when I'm building an app such as this one, you got to go out and you're going to create these views by yourself. This thing went out and it did it for you. So that is one big kind of advantage, one nice feature of this. And so here you have it. Now, if you click on this, this is this form right here, right? So as you can see, it says form. But if you go back to the detail, you have the detail. So when you are working with this app, you are seeing the views and you are seeing the table. So it essentially generated a table for you inside of here, and it generated like 3 views from you. It also has this assistant view, which is actually really cool. If you go in here and you go to assistant, and let's say I say BMW. So let's say I go in here and I say BMW. And it pulled up a BMW. And let's say I want Mercedes. So I click this, Mercedes. And it pulled up Mercedes. So that's a nice little feature, this little voice assistant that is essentially builds as a kind of very similar to Google Assistant or to Amazon's Alexa Assistant. Really nice feature, and this is all built in here. So now we have kind of our sample app, right? We can go back to our list view, which is this primary view here, and you can modify it. You can do a lot of interesting things, right? So if you go to the layout, so even before we get to the layout, you can specify, you can have it as a table. Now it's kind of as a table. You can have kind of a detail, which is not a detail. You can have it as a card. I believe the initial one was, what was it? Was it deck? I don't remember. Yeah, no, it wasn't deck. It was something. Yeah, it was something. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, you can change different settings here. You can change things around. You can make it a card. So you can kind of browse this as a card. You can make it as a gallery, which is actually pretty cool. Pulls up the images, and the images are stored as URLs here. So it pulls up the images. You can have a detail. It should not be a detail because we have another detail view. It has a map, chart, dashboard, onboarding card. You can specify the positions. You have view options. And another thing what's interesting is that if you scroll down, you have your layout. And this is where you can specify how this specific view is actually set up. So you have your list. You can pick photo, and it looks a little bit different. You can have a backdrop, which is actually pretty cool, right? Lots of functionality, and you can go to large. And then you can have something like this. So it was initially list, and then you can actually customize this card, right? This item, if you call it. Title goes here, subtitle goes here. So if you click on title, it says column to show name. So if I say description, it's going to change it. Now, instead of this short title, which is the brand, it's actually going to show this long description, which is not what we want. So we're going to go back to name, and then subtitle is description. We can say none. So it's very, very easy to customize. You can do something like this. I actually like backdrop. I think it looks really cool. So it really depends what you're building. And when it comes to backdrop, you can say title goes here. So if you go to title, you can do that. And then you can click on the image and you can customize. So regardless what you pick, you can easily customize how the image is displayed, the fitting. Very, very cool stuff. And the best part of this platform is that it immediately created these views, which essentially we were going to create anyway, right? You can remove this view. You can click on delete if you do not want this assistant. And it says these are menu views, right? These views are accessed where the menu at the top left of the app. Views that are used only occasionally should be used in this section, right? This is this menu right here. And you can create more views. You can create a lot of things. And then you have these ref views, right? And these are views that were created automatically, right? They're created automatically because when you click on it, typically you want the detail. When it comes to app design, this is called the list and a detail view, which is something that, you see all the time. You have a list of hotel rooms. You click on hotel. You have a list of hotels. You click on the hotel, and it shows you the details, the address, the pictures, the rooms, reviews, stuff like that. This is very, very common when it comes to building these kinds of apps. And so if you click on this, you're going to be in your detail view, which is this view here. So if I open this view here, as you can see, this is, if you go into the display, you have all of these settings for this detail view, okay? So you have your main image is none. You can say none, so it's not going to have an image, right? You can have an auto. You can have, you can specify the image. You can specify a card layout, right? So now you're specifying. Now you can actually customize it, right? So here's the image. And here's the header, right? This is the name. So if I remove it, it's going to say nothing. It removes it. This allows you to actually customize how the detail view is going to look like. And always you can take a look at this detail on the bottom. This is kind of your built-in debugging. Very, very easy to see what's happening. And I know in Bubble, you have to turn on a couple of options in order to see that. But here it's it's automatic. It's right on the screen. You know exactly what's happening. And so you have all these options. You can sort by, you can create your sorting, you can edit columns. You can do a lot of interesting things. You can the name show, the display name, the name shown for this view in the app. Leave this empty to just use the view name, or give it text, double quoted, or a formula. So you can click here and you can specify the text, or you can click here and you can actually give some kind of a formula, right? There's all these formulas for formatting any kind of text, right? So you can pick text or formula here, and there's a lot of other things. This is the behavior, app link, link to view. This is some of the advanced functionality that I'm going to talk a little bit about later. But nevertheless, you can also create an action, right? So you have one action, says unclick. What do you want to do? Unclick. You want to do edit. So let's say the first one is edit, the next one is delete, and it automatically creates this functionality for us. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that just to kind of revert it to the default. And this is awesome, right? So not only, from this one Google Sheet, we went ahead and created a couple of views. So it essentially created this main view, right? This kind of main list view. And it also created these detail views, right? So we have this detail view and it has this form for adding, right? So if you click on plus, you can add items, right? This is our form right here, right? And this is essentially, you can specify column order. You can kind of customize it a little bit. It has display, behavior, etc., etc. And we're going to get to all of that a little bit later as well. Next is the behavior. And this is where you can create different behaviors. So I can say new action. This is for the cars app. This is for the record right here, this thing right here. And I can call it, new action is fine. Or I can just say action 1. And let's see, it has data set that the data, it could go to external website, go to an external website, And I can say, okay, I want this to go to an external website. And so an example would be double quoted. Let's say I wanted to go to google.com, and I'm going to hit save. And now I'm going to launch it external. Now I have this action. So then I can go back to our UI and actually, connect that action to something. So let me show you exactly. So I can save it. Let's say I want to save it first of all. I'm modifying this thing. I'm going to go to the UI, and I'm going to go in here. So let's say I click. Let's say I am in my cars app, right? So I go in here. I'm in my list view. And let's say this is the detail. I'm in this main view here. And I have my layout. So I have on click. Now I have my action. So I can go to details or I can go to Google. Remember, we didn't have that action before. But now that I defined it, it's available here. So you can define them and you can make them do various things. I'm going to delete it so that, we don't have it. You can have system actions. So you have add, delete, and edit. These are system generated actions so that you can easily work with your data. And next we have automation, which is more of an advanced topic that I probably aim to cover in some of the future videos, as well as security, intelligence, users, and managers. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and deploy this app, this sample app, so I can show you the process. I'm going to hit save so that everything is nicely saved. I'm going to click on this, and we're going to run a deployment check just to make sure that everything is legit. It shows us some warnings. We can kind of ignore all that. And we're going to go into deploy. We're going to do a deployment check. So I'm going to say, move app to deploy despite of errors. Some warnings, some minor stuff, which is not a big deal because this is not an app that we're going to be showing to real users. And so we're going to go ahead and deploy it. And so it says your app has been deployed. Okay. So now this app is actually deployed, right? So if you go back to your app view, your main dashboard where you see all the apps here, you can see that this is now deployed. I have a sample app here as well, but this is now deployed. So what that means is that you can hit preview and you can actually see this app, right? So you can actually work with this app. You can actually share it. You can deploy it on an actual website. You can go tablet. You can rotate it. You can go to mobile. You have this mobile view. You can do full screen, and that's gonna pull up this full screen as well. And that is kind of what we have, right? So if I go back to this main dashboard here by clicking on this logo here, you can see that we're going to have a list of deployed apps, and you're going to have a list of apps that you're working with. And you can move this app, you can share it, you can copy, you can delete it, you can click on share, and you can essentially share this app. So now this app is live, you can share it, you can give it to people, they can load it up on their phones. They can do everything that you can do with some of the other tools. Essentially, they can start using the app. So I can click Chevrolet, and now we have Chevy here. I can create a new car. I can edit this, right? So I can go back, or I can add a new one, right? Now I have a new one, or I can, if I'm in an existing, let's say I'm on a Ford, that's editing it. And that's the beauty of this tool, is that it creates these views automatically. You don't need to go out and you don't need to, tie your record from the list view to a detail view. And as you will see in some of the future videos, there's a lot more features here that is kind of lurking behind what you're seeing here. There's a lot of advanced functionality, a lot of advanced things that you can do with it. And so in the future, I plan to make more videos with some of the advanced training. But in terms of this overview, that is all that I wanted to cover in this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see a more comprehensive video. Let me know if you have any questions, any concerns, if you want me to compare it to Bubble, Adalo, and some of the other tools, maybe like Appgyver. I have some good experience with all those other tools, so I can give you a really nice comparison. If you enjoyed this video, you want to see more videos such as this one, definitely give this video a thumbs up, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you are interested in building apps without writing a single line of code. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys real soon.